I tell people declutter, declutter, declutter. It's the clutter in your life, mental, physical, emotional clutter that gets in the way of your intuition and gets in the way of your life. And in this episode, I'll tell you one of my experiences that was exactly that. I pulled up to the cutest little house, just absolutely adorable. It was one story, kind of up on a hill. There's a kid's swing set outside. There's potted plants up front, and driveway was neat. The grass was neat. Everything was, organized and really, really cute. And I did what I always do, follow that routine. And I checked in to the house before I went into it, scanned it, saw that there was a lot of spirits in there. And I thought, well, that's a lot of spiritual activity for a little house. I wonder what's going on, because outside, everything felt fine. It wasn't until I opened the door and, well, she opened the door, the homeowner opened the door to let me in. I walked in and was hit with a wall of emotional pain. I felt like I walked in to like I stepped into a pot of boiling water. It was just night and day. It was really stunning to me how contained this energy was. It wasn't oozing out of the house. It wasn't overlapping into the yard. It was night and day. Now, the homeowner was a hoarder, and she was hoarding things. It wasn't as bad as I've seen in like documentaries or on television, but it was significantly intense. And you could tell that she had some embarrassment right out of the gate of letting me into the home. So that told me that she was aware of, her hoarding. And I am not a therapist. I don't, this is an area I didn't understand. So the best I could do is just walk through the entire thing with ultimate compassion. And she started to apologize. I'm sorry. And I just looked at her and I said, it's okay. I'm with you. That's all that matters, is that you and I are here. And we're dealing with this, and I need you to be okay. So I'm going to come in and, do what I can to clear this house of any negative spiritual energy. And she just took a deep breath, but I could tell she was still kind of uncomfortable. And I felt like she really knew what was going on with her personal situation, because she expressed something to me about, I went through a lot of traumatic events. Maybe that's why the spirits are around. And she said, you can just look around and tell I went through some traumatic events. So she knew that because of the trauma that she had suffered, her coping mechanism was hoarding. So again, I said, this is, it's just you and me. And my job is, I can't fix the trauma. That's why you're, hopefully working with somebody, a therapist, or you have people that you can talk to. I said, but what I can do is I can remove any negative spiritual energy in here that is stopping you or slowing you down from moving forward on your healing journey. And she really wanted to heal. She's like, I really want to get better. And I said, awesome. Then I'm just going to check off this off of your list. When I'm done, I'll bubble this place up. I'll talk to you about lifting the energy in here and what you can do, and just reassured her, that this is not a moment of any judgment whatsoever. This is a moment of me coming in and doing my job. So we walked through the house the best we could, and I couldn't get to different locations, but luckily, there's some rooms you couldn't even go into, but luckily I had grown enough in my clearing work that I didn't necessarily need to be in any particular spot in a house all the time. Most of the time I didn't. And I could usually just sit on somebody's living room couch and kind of remove that linear time and space and allow myself to connect one-on-one with whatever spirit is stuck. So I had grown enough to the point where I was doing that. So I didn't sit on her couch, couldn't sit on her couch. So we just stood, which was fine. And she's can I get you anything? Do you need anything? I said, no, what I'm going to do. And I explained it to her. I'm going to connect with each spirit here. And I started to see a pattern very quickly. I remember standing there and I closed my eyes. I checked in with my guide. I said, any instructions on this? And he's like, white light will work just fine here. This one's going to be relatively easy. So I said, okay. And filled the space that I was in with white light. And instantly 2 spirits came right up to me and like grabbed onto the light. And when they did that, you could see they just transitioned. They wanted to go. They weren't trapped. They weren't held, but it felt as if like they saw an opportunity for a peaceful, easy way to go. And they took it. Then there was a few more spirits that came closer into the energy, but they were so sad. They were so heartbroken. They felt so, what's the word I want to use? They felt so isolated. Whoever was supposed to show up for them emotionally did not, in a big way. So the overall feeling of their energy, I remember I didn't get all of their stories. I'm going to be very honest. There was a part of me that was feeling uncomfortable in the home. It's hard to breathe and things like this. So I wasn't going to linger in there as long as possible. I was going to get the job done as quickly as I could so we could step outside and talk, because it was hard to breathe in the home. And so all I really could do was feel the energy, because the emotional energy of each of the spirits that were in the house, I would say there's probably about 7 or 8 of them. They weren't difficult to help cross over. They just needed like someone to turn the light on. Do you know what I mean? And they all felt the same. They felt like, how do I explain that energetically? How that emotion, like that emotion of the one person that was supposed to really take care of you and protect you hurt you dramatically. So that was the feeling that they all shared. And I started to realize this is a like attracts like situation. Most often when you're doing clearings, a spirit who's stuck will be attracted either to something very similar to themselves or something very different. So somebody that is injured in a particular way, emotional way, we could say, is either going to, in spirit form, out of, fear and trying to just remain stuck, is going to be attracted to another person that has that similar experience and story, or they're going to be attracted to the very opposite, perhaps somebody that doesn't have that experience and story, but is very protective type. So I knew that this was a like attracts like. I knew that they were being attracted to the home because the energy in the home had that same trauma level to it. So they weren't difficult to clear. Like I said, they just needed that higher vibrational light energy that they could go toward to say, okay, I can just relax back into this and keep going. So we get done, and I checked with my guide, is everyone clear? He said, yep. I said, all right. Stepped out front and talked to the homeowner for a while, and she confirmed that she was working with somebody, that she was in therapy. It was just somehow really important to me, because it's one thing, you know how I feel. Ghosts are people too. All of those individuals that were in that home needed to be released from that emotional burden. They were done. It was the life had ended. The storyline was over. They didn't have to stay in that emotional burden. And my heart just went out to the living homeowner. I wished I could take that away from her as well. We can't, everyone has their own journey, but I just said, are you taking care of yourself? Are you seeing someone? She said, yeah. I said, it's interesting because I didn't talk about her hoarding directly. I just talked about clutter and how it can block our intuition. I knew standing outside, not only in fresh air, but also in fresh energy, I knew that she was highly intuitive. And so I asked her about it. I said, you're really intuitive, aren't you? And she goes, yeah, I used to be able to really see a lot and feel a lot. And that's why I was so frightened, because I knew something was in my house, and I knew that they were there, but I couldn't see them. She goes, my intuition went away like however many years ago. And I was able to explain to her, it doesn't go away. Your intuition never goes away. It can be dulled. It can, be covered up, but it never goes away. And the number one thing that covers up your intuition is clutter. And she said the coolest thing. She said, you know what? You just gave me another really positive reason to work through my trauma and declutter. And I said, yeah, that's awesome. She goes, I'm kind of excited now. That gives me like a direction to go in. And that warmed my heart. She was just a really cool person. And I know she checked in about a year later and said she was doing much better. She had a lot of, clutter removed, and she was able to live a more decluttered life, and it was a lot happier. So I was very excited to hear that. But the clutter does it. It really does it. It stagnates. It holds energy still. It like slows everything down. So if you have a room that's just full of clutter, if you have an attic full of stuff that you don't even remember what's up there, the energy in that area is going to be very slow and very stagnant. And that might not necessarily attract other spirits. Like I said, this was a like attracts like situation, where it was very clear that they were all sharing the same, emotional trauma and baggage that they had. So clutter won't necessarily attract spirits, but it's going to slow down the energy in your environment, and it will cover up that beautiful intuition of yours. So it's not perfection. You don't have to live a perfectly decluttered life. If you could see my desk here, you'd know that that's not always the case for me. But it is about working toward decluttering and doing little bits here and there, and always letting go of things that you just don't need anymore. It's so important. I'm grateful that I was able to work with her. She was an amazing client, amazing woman. And I was really, really grateful to be able to connect with those spirits that had been attracted to that energy and attracted to the clutter in the home, and be able to help them transition, because they didn't need to carry that trauma any longer. Like I said, their timeline is over. And this is why I love doing what I do, because ghosts are people too.
This podcast is brought to you by the SAGE Method, the most comprehensive and down-to-earth intuitive development training available. Is this your year? Is it finally your time to increase your intuition, bring in more abundance, and experience the bliss you deserve? If yes, then join thousands of students across the world for a 7-week journey to uncover your natural, beautiful, and strong intuition. Visit us at thesagemethod.com for more information.